So you're thinking about leaving California and moving to Springfield, Missouri, but you're not sure if this is the right move for you. Well, in today's video, I will share a little bit about myself, my story, and the top reasons why I chose to leave California and move to Springfield, Missouri. My name is Natalie Resnick, and I'm the owner of Living in Springfield Real Estate Team, and I went through exactly what you're about to go through, which is moving out of state to Springfield, Missouri. And let me tell you, it was the best decision I've ever made. It was such a good life-changing experience for me that I made it a goal of mine to help people just like you make a smooth move to Springfield, Missouri. So if you're thinking about moving to Springfield, Missouri, you'll want to tune in because I'm about to share what my experience has been like moving to Springfield. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in Springfield, Missouri and surrounding areas, then you want to subscribe below and tap the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market in Springfield, Missouri. My team and I get calls and emails every single day from people just like you looking to make their move to Springfield, Missouri. And we absolutely love it. So whether you're moving here in 9 days, 90 days, or even 9 months, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, all in the description below, and we would be happy to help you make a smooth move to Springfield, Missouri. Before I share my experience about moving to Missouri from Northern California, I want to share a little backstory about myself. I have lived in Sacramento, California since 2001, and in 2016 became a licensed realtor and sold real estate in ever-changing markets since then. Well, it seems like in the past 5 or 6 years, Sacramento has become the fastest growing region in California. And with that, it seemed like real estate prices doubled, rents skyrocketed, and also impacted the crime and homelessness that has already been prevalent in that region. And on top of that, it seemed like the area became congested with traffic every single hour of the day. And, ultimately, I had kids, and as a parent now, things just became different and the area changed, not for the better, but it seemed like it changed for the worse for myself specifically. All of the things that I never really truly paid attention to before now became my biggest concerns as a young parent. And I found myself in a position where I just wanted to raise my family in a much safer environment, one that's, without the hustle and bustle, where my kids could be kids, and where the politics were not changing as fast, as drastically, and my freedoms were still intact. And so, even though I had family in Springfield, Missouri, it was still a big leap of faith for me because I had to leave my established career behind, my friends, my family, all the connections we've made, all the memories, and just leave everything that I have known behind. I really did not know what I was doing. I just knew that I was going to take this leap of faith, change my life, and figure things out once I moved to Springfield, Missouri. And I find myself every day grateful that I made this move, that I got through this first and second year. They have been kind of hard. As with any move, especially out of state, you'll find that it is quite a transition and you need to allow yourself some time to adjust. And I went through that period myself, and but still, now I find myself ever so grateful that I made this move and that I have it all behind me, and I'm not thinking about it right now, but instead I can use my experience to help people just like you. So one of the things I want to touch on upon my move to Springfield, Missouri is that I got quite a bit of a culture shock. I moved from a metro area of about 2.4 million to an area that only has a metro population of just under 500,000, But that was not the big shocker. The big shocker for me actually was that in California, when I lived in Sacramento, I lived in a cultural melting pot. And when I moved to Springfield, Missouri, I found myself in an area that is 85% predominantly white. And like I said, it is not bad at all. There's nothing bad about it. It's just that it was different for me. So if you are moving from an area that has quite a bit of different cultures, Springfield might shock you a bit, but you'll get used to it. There's nothing bad about it. But despite this statistic, I found the people of Springfield, Missouri to be very welcoming and very friendly and very helpful as well. When I moved into my place in Nixa, Missouri, the neighbors were extremely welcoming and helpful. I now know most of my neighbors by name. We've chatted quite a few times in the period that I've lived here. Whenever I drive through the neighborhood, everybody says hi. And at first that was kind of strange because in California, whenever someone waves their hand, it's typically just the middle finger, but here is the entire hand. And so the first few times were kind of awkward, but now that I got used to it, I love doing it myself. And to go back on the helpful aspect is that when I moved into my place in Nixa, Missouri, the neighbors made it a point to come and kind of tell me how to take care of the house during the changing seasons here, make sure that that everything is well prepared, that I know of things, and if I need any help, they gave me their numbers. And I had a little incident where I locked myself out of my house. I went on a quick walk. It was gonna be one of those days that I was gonna take a walk in the morning, start my day right, get some fresh air. And then I accidentally locked myself out of a house. So I had to call a locksmith. And while that locksmith was helping me, quite a bit of neighbors came by, made sure I'm okay, offered help. My neighbor actually, one of the neighbors actually brought me a hot chocolate and just made sure that I was doing okay, which was super duper sweet. And so just want to reassure you that, if you're coming from a place that is very diverse and you're wondering, what is it going to be like to live here? I think it's been a wonderful experience for me, and I think it will be a wonderful experience for you as well. Another thing that's worth pointing out, and one of the top reasons why I chose to move to Springfield, Missouri from California, is that there's abundance of freedom of thought here. In fact, most of the politics here lean about 60% conservative, and as a parent, having the ability to have control over every aspect of my children's life is very comforting for me. It was actually the catalyst to making a move out of California and uprooting my entire life and starting all over. It was that important for me, whether you lean one way or another. Springfield is a very welcoming place, and it gives you the ability to you live your life the way that you think is best for you and your family, and allow me to live my life the way that I think is best for me and my family, and really give us all the ability to make the best decisions for us. And for me, that has been the biggest motivating factor to move out of state and not to stress anymore about ever-changing politics and ever-changing laws that might affect my ability as a parent to be able to make decisions for my family, and really just gave me a peace of mind that my kids will live the life that I want them to live, that I will not have to do certain things, or if I want to, I can, in order for them to attend public schools or any kinds of schools in the area. And really there's no discrimination one way or the other. So that has been a very significant factor to choosing Springfield, Missouri as a place to live, just because I think that everyone should be able to make their own decision about what is best for them and their families. And it's really changed the quality of life for me because that stress is no longer here. I had no pushback from schools, from doctors, and family and friends, and it's really been welcoming. With even though my ideas might be different from yours or others, and so I want to tell you that if you are picking Springfield, if you're thinking about moving to Springfield, Missouri, that this is a place to be. And so whatever way you lean towards on politics, I think Springfield, Missouri is a very welcoming place. It allows you to make decisions that are good for you and other people to make decisions that are good for them, and all live in unison. Upon my move to Springfield, Missouri, my oldest son went to first grade. He was actually about half a year behind. He didn't attend the first half year because due to the coronavirus, the schools in my area in California shut down, and so our option was to do online. And for quite a few reasons, I decided not to enroll him into online and do more of a homeschool. But I might not be the best candidate to be a homeschool teacher, which is why I do real estate and I'm not a teacher. And so he was just a little behind, and I was, to be honest, a little worried about him because I didn't want him to feel any sort of way that he was not at the same level as other kids in first grade. However, we first started in Rogersville, and we had such incredible experience with our teachers and staff there, and such amazing support from everyone at the school. In no time, due to the extra programs that he got offered to be in, due to the extra effort on the teachers' parts, and just the collaboration and the communication with me and the support that was provided for me, he got caught up pretty quick and had a wonderful experience in school. And also, not too long, we moved from Rogersville to Nixa, Missouri, which is, well, both of these little towns are just outside of the city, the Springfield city limits. And he continued to have a wonderful experience in his new school despite being moved mid-year. We were welcomed once again. The teachers and the staff gave extra attention to him and ensured that he had a positive experience upon his move. And he misses his teacher and his friends in his prior school. But, upon our move here, he has had such a wonderful experience here. Every time I pick him up from the pickup line after school, he's smiling and he's chatting with the teachers and his friends. And he's doing very well academically wise as well. And so even though these are public schools, he has had such a wonderful experience, and I'm so excited for my middle son to start attending school next fall as well, and continue to have that great experience. And another thing to point out is that schools in Springfield there's quite a bit of top-rated schools here, top-rated districts, and in fact, the Nixa High School has just received, for the second time in the past decade, it has received the Blue Ribbon Award. So that is incredible to know that even though we go to a public school here, they are getting everything that they need here. One of the single most important factors in purchasing a home can be the school district, especially if you have children who will be attending school. And even if you do not have kids, or that is not a concern for you, the school district and the rating of the school district does actually affect resale value. So you want to make a smart decision about with your home purchase, look into the school ratings. And as I said, I had a really great experience in Rogersville, which is a smaller town with about 6,000 people. It's found east of Springfield, and then we moved from Rogersville to Nixa, where we are now, and we absolutely love it here. And Nixa also has amazing schools. Like I said, my son moved into his school midway, and he had an incredible experience. I was so worried about it. I felt really bad that I had to move him midway through the year and really uproot him again. But he adjusted so well, and that is honestly all due to just having so much support and such welcoming teachers and staff and the people here. And so I think that if you have children and your concerns are, hey, this Nixa or the Springfield and the surrounding areas, do they have great schools? I would like to point out that yes, in fact, many of the school districts like the Ozark School District, Nixa, Republic, Willard, the Kickapoo School District in South Springfield, they are all top rated. I'll leave some websites below so you can do your own research and your own due diligence before you make an offer on a home, and find out for yourself and really make sure that whichever area you decide to buy a home in and move to, that it fits the needs that you have for education for your children. The next big point for me compared to living in California is that I have found Springfield to be very well maintained and very clean. And in no way am I saying that Springfield is perfect or doesn't have its little issues here and there. However, compared to living in California where the roads were constantly congested, there was trash on the sides of freeway, homelessness under bridges in neighborhoods, on side of the freeways as well, graffiti everywhere. I have found Springfield to be very well maintained and to do a good job with road upkeep, with the lack of trash in neighborhoods, and just a nice little city to live in. Of course, there's neighborhoods that are not so great, and that's something that you can do your research on, and just comes with the territory, but as you move out into the country where there's less people, less traffic, you will find actually that it's very clean and well maintained. And I just love that because I want to live in a place that I can enjoy and just takes pride in itself. And so that's been a positive thing for me. However, I have never seen so much roadkill in my life, especially if you go onto the beautiful country roads outside the city's limits. I have had to adjust to this, to be honest. Living in California, I would travel through neighborhoods, freeways, where there's a lot of cars, really no animals, no wild animals there. But because I lived in Rogersville or Nixa and I have to go through the back roads to my next destination here and there, I have seen so much roadkill, and it's been kind of sad to see those animals there, but it comes with the territory, and the roadkill is picked up very fast, so it's not lying there and creating lots of issues. But it's something that you might have to get used to, especially if you decide to buy a home out in the country or just like slightly out the city limits, because Springfield does have a lot of nature, a lot of wild animals, especially deer. One of my favorite parts about living here is when I'm driving through the back roads where the houses sit on more acreage. I've seen deer, just families of deer with the little babies, just hanging out on the front porch, on the front lawn of these beautiful homes, and it's just such a beautiful sight to see. But with that comes roadkill. So although there's lack of trash, you might see a deer here and there, as well as some other little creatures on the road, and that will just become pretty normal. Like I said, it does get picked up pretty quick, and so just be careful when you're driving at night through the back roads because there are no lights, so you have to slow down and just be wary that a deer might run in front of you. That has actually happened to me twice. I had to brake pretty quick. I'm grateful no one was behind me, and I was able to assert the situation and react accordingly, and everything ended up pretty well. But just saying that that just comes with the territory here. That's why we want to move here, right? Because of the nature, of the beauty, of the smaller population, and just a slower pace of life without that hustle and bustle. So though there's lack of trash, lack of graffiti in most areas, and everything's very well maintained and people take pride in their properties, you might find yourself on the road and see a few little things lying around. So I wouldn't worry about that. I would just, get accustomed to it. And hey, if you move here, this might be your new life. This might be one of my favorite things about living in Springfield, Missouri, and that is that Springfield really offers a diverse options of lifestyles to choose from. And that is that you can live in a cute condo in downtown Springfield. You can live in a the picture perfect home in the outskirts towns like Nixa, Ozark, Republic. You can also live in one of the gated golf communities here or have your own little farm just minutes from the cities in the outskirts of town, and just choose the lifestyle that fits you, and you don't have to compromise because Springfield and everything perks of the big city is just minutes. It's just a short commute from most places, and so you can have the best of both worlds. You don't have to constantly live in the hustle and bustle of a big city or live in a suburb, but you can be out in the country with a little bit of acreage, have your own little homestead, enjoy more of the calmer, slower pace of lifestyle, and still have access to everything the city has to offer. Or, you know, if you're coming from another city and you just like being in a suburb that feels more comforting to you, like to me, I'm kind of still getting adjusted to big wide open spaces. Springfield has a lot of communities that are amazing. In fact, it has a lot of new construction suburbs that offer modern living, all and either in Springfield or just right outside of Springfield, so you can be away from the hustle and bustle but still live and kind of have a country setting but still be in a suburb with modern amenities. So that's just something to look into. And also, you know, your dollar goes much further here because Springfield has a lower cost of living, and real estate here is about 22% lower than the rest of the country. So your dollar will buy you a beautiful, much bigger property than it would in a different state. I'm not saying Springfield is the cheapest of them all, but it does have quite a bit of perks for the cost of living here. So definitely worth checking out. And like I said, my favorite thing is that you can choose from different lifestyles here, all within just minutes from the city, and enjoy nature, go hunting, and then go to your office the next day, or have your own little farm and have access to stores and not have to drive hours just to have a piece of property on acreage. One of the more pleasant differences I have found in Springfield, Missouri is that we have all 4 true seasons here in Springfield, sometimes all in one single day. So if you think you're going to be bored here, that's definitely not the case with the weather in Springfield. Springfield or Missouri weather in general can be very unpredictable, and in fact there's times when it can be 28 degrees one day and 75 the next. And if you're coming from a warmer climate like I did, we do get snow here, but don't be afraid because it's not a lot. It's actually just a few inches, and typically it melts away within days. So I look at it as a great experience for my kids to grow up in an area where it snows, so they get to experience all 4 seasons and really get to learn about the weather and how seasons change and the process and everything. Myself, I'm not a huge fan of cold, but I think with the snow, it just makes it beautiful and just makes it a cozy day at home if school is out for the day. And that's another thing, is that here in Springfield, it might not snow a lot, but when it does snow, typically the roads can get icy. And so a lot of times when it does snow, schools are closed for that day or a few days. It's just a really different way of life here, because in California, it was either raining in the winter, it wasn't too cold, and then during the summers, they were pretty hot. It was upwards of 100 and it was more of dry heat. But here in Springfield, we get all 4 seasons. I don't have to travel, a couple hours just to take my kids to the snow. They get to experience it all here in our backyard, and within a few days, it returns to normal, which I actually like, because I don't have to live in snowy weather for months on end, and that for me is a plus. You're also probably wondering, is it humid in Springfield? Well, let me tell you that it actually is, and that's also been a change for me, because in Sacramento, the summers were very dry. It was so dry that typically we would have fires during the summer season, and that was just normal. However, here in Springfield, it does get humid, so I don't mind it one bit, because it's good for my skin, and who does not like free skincare? I sure don't have a problem with that. But in general, it's been great because it is not dry heat, it is humid, but I have found the summers here to be beautiful. It's actually very enjoyable if you can get past the humidity part on, because everything is green and lush and everything's blooming and thriving. Nothing is dry there. I have not had any experiences or heard of any fires here in Springfield during the last few summers, and so that has been a great experience. I would prefer that humidity and a beautiful green summer over a dry one where I have to lock myself inside the house for a week due to a local fire, worry about having to evacuate that area due to that, and that also affects your insurance rates if there's quite a bit of fires. So I love the changing weather here because, you know, during the summers we might get rain here and there, and then it'll become warm and sunny again and then rain again, and so it's ever changing, and I don't mind it one bit. I actually like it just because it's just something new to look forward to each day. However, I will say that sometimes, you know, you can, like I said earlier in the video, you can experience all 4 seasons in one single day. So be prepared. If you look at your weather app and make sure that you're ready for the day. So because it can be really cold in the morning, but by 1 o'clock or so during the day, it can get pretty hot. So make sure that your dress code is appropriate for that day. One of my favorite parts about living in Springfield, Missouri are the beautiful local beaches. I mean the lakes. There are no beaches in Missouri, unfortunately, but we do have an abundance of beautiful lakes. In fact, when summertime comes around, it seems like everybody actually does have a boat here and is living the lake life and is doing some kind of lake activity. So if you move to Springfield and you're more of a lake person and you don't mind being away from the beach, this is an incredible place to be because it seems like just in every direction there is a beautiful lake for you to enjoy. So, although there is a lack of beaches in Springfield, Missouri, or the Missouri area, the Midwest area in general, there is no lack of outdoor activities here. Missourians love their recreational outdoors activity. In fact, there is hunting season, there's fishing tournaments, there's hiking, there's kayaking, boating, golfing. There's so much activities to do here. If you live by the beach or you have always wanted to live by the beach, but now you're not so sure and you don't know how it's gonna be once you move to Missouri, let me tell you, I love my beach. I do miss it. I'm just a very tropical person, but in this season of my life, I'm living in Missouri, and I absolutely love that my kids actually get to grow up in an area where they will learn to hunt, where they will learn to fish, where there's like cow pastures and just some more outdoorsy, rugged life that they can immerse themselves into and really learn those kind of basic skills that I did not grow up with in Sacramento, California, just because I was in the suburbs and did not really travel much outside of that. There's just so much to do here and all within a short driving distance. And if the outdoorsy lifestyle is not really your thing, there are other options for you here. Well, you guys, this has been my experience of moving from California to Springfield, Missouri, and I hope that you have found it helpful. I know where you're at right now. It's a scary process. There's a lot of moving factors, a lot of unknowns, and it's a big risk, to be honest. I do not regret my move to Missouri. In fact, I am absolutely thankful every single day that I have chosen to make that decision and leave everything behind and I know how hard it is. I know it is quite an adjustment, but like I said, it has been the best myself and my family, and I'm so thankful every day that I get to be here, that I get to live a slower pace of life, that my kids can be kids here and have a really different kind of childhood as they grow up. Something I did not know until I moved to Springfield, Missouri, and something that I find to not be that to actually be a con for me is that there's gonna be ticks in Missouri. no matter where you live. They're kind of abundant here, especially during these summer months. They go away during the colder months, so you have a little break, but during the summer ones, especially if you have kids or if you work outside or go on hikes and stuff, you want to be cautious about that because they do bite, and you can get Lyme disease from it, and it's a pretty serious disease and something you probably don't want to get. And I've lived in areas before where there's ticks, but I've never really had to worry about them as much as I do here. But there are some precautions that you can actually take, like making sure that you mow your grass often, that you use bug and tick spray, that you check your body for any bites after every outing. Just be careful, just wear the right type of clothing if you do need to go where the grass is taller or if you're taking a hike, and you should be okay. But that is just something that initially just like freaked me out as a parent of little ones because they're constantly barefoot. I prefer them to be barefoot when they're outside playing so they can get more of that exposure to nature. And so that was something that really scared me in the beginning, but I bought my tick spray. I bought the there's a little tool that if you do get bitten by a tick, you can take it out correctly so that its head is not stuck. And I know this sounds gross, but it's the reality of living in Springfield. But the locals here don't make that big of a deal of it as I did initially. And so I'm realizing that yes, it is part of living in Springfield, but as long as we're cautious, as long as we're very careful and take all the precautions and really try to not go into tall, dark, woody areas, we should be fine. Like I said, not my favorite thing about Springfield, but it does come with the territory. And so that's something I wanted you to know. And if you do come from tick territory, that might not be a big deal for you because you're already used to it. It's just part of your lifestyle to check your body and make sure that you've not been bitten or just prevent that in the first place. So if you're considering moving here, just make sure you're aware of that and you take all the right precautions. On that note, we do have some positives, and that is gas is much cheaper in Springfield, in the Midwest in general, than it was in California. I have to pay for premium gas, which now that I had to pay for it in the last couple of years, I might be changing out my car. But for now, I am so grateful that I do not have to pay over $4 for my premium gas. My gas trips have become much less painful since moving to Springfield, Missouri. And regarding this, so I have a Costco membership, I have a Sam's Club membership, and we have both stores here, which is amazing. I get the benefits of cheaper gas. So if you do go to a different gas station, it might be a little more expensive, but on average, gas is much more affordable in Springfield. And talking about gas and traffic in Springfield, Missouri, I feel like, especially coming from a place that's very congested where traffic was quite heavy and was there every part of the hour, there was standing traffic on the freeway, especially during rush hours. I feel that Springfield, Missouri, even in the inner city, just doesn't have that much of a traffic problem as we did in California, and I love it. Whenever I have to go to the city, I never worry about traffic. There might be some, but it's not like standstill traffic where you're standing for minutes on end waiting for the car in front of you to move. It moves pretty quickly, and as you go further away from the city, the traffic just kind of goes away, and especially in the back roads, you might have a car or two behind you, but that is pretty much it. Let's talk taxes. So depending where you move from, this might be a pro or a con for you, and your perspective might be different from mine. But moving from California, the highest effective tax rate for personal income was 13.2%, versus in Missouri, the highest effective tax rate is only 5.4%. I'd say that is a pretty big difference. So although Missouri is not a tax-free state like Texas, like Tennessee or Florida, it does have a much lower effective tax rate than most other states. And combined with real estate taxes, the average real estate tax here in Missouri is about 0.93, versus the national average tax rate for real estate property taxes it's going to be at 1.07%. So you do get quite a bit of savings on taxes from real estate and from your income. So that is something that I have found to be a great thing for me, because who likes paying taxes? I mean, it's great. It's great for the infrastructure and other benefits. But you know, if you're working hard for your money or you're thinking about retirement or other savings, it's great to be in a state where, you know, there's kind of more of a balance. Here's the kicker. Missouri has what's called a personal property tax, and it is not to be confused with real estate property tax. And another kicker is that this bill is due on December 31st, which is not the most convenient time. And this personal property tax taxes things such as automobiles, RVs, trailers, and so forth. So although the DMV fees here might be lower, you do have this tax that is reoccurring every year, and it is also kind of due during a not so convenient time, and the newer the item is, the more it's worth, the more you're going to be paying. So that is something that I have found that I don't really love or look forward to, especially in December of each year. But it is something that Missouri has, so something that you should look into and see how much you might be paying if you do decide to move here. Well, you guys, this has been my experience of moving from California to Springfield, Missouri, and I hope that you have found it helpful. I know where you're at right now. It's a scary process. There's a lot of moving factors, a lot of unknowns, and it's a big risk, to be honest. I do not regret my move to Missouri. In fact, I am absolutely thankful every single day that I have chosen to make that decision and leave everything behind and start all over. And I know how hard it is. I know it is quite an adjustment, but like I said, it has been the best move for myself and my family, and I'm so thankful every day that I get to be here, that I get to live a slower pace of life, that my kids can be kids here and have a really different kind of childhood as they grow up. And I hope that you have found this helpful and that it helps you to make the right decision for you, whether it's moving to Missouri, to some other state, or to stay where you're at. And with that, you're looking to move here, whether it's in 9 days or 90 days or 9 months, you know who to call. My team and I get calls and have helped other people relocate here to Springfield, Missouri, and would love to do that for you. So give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and we would love to help you. My name is Natalie Resnick, and I hope to see you around.